Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. Welcome, you guys. We have people joining the conversation. I'll give them just a couple seconds to get in and get situated. So excited to be here this morning. This is the final day of the summit. I hope that you all have enjoyed all of the information, presentations, talks, panelists, fireside chats that we've been doing over the last 4 days. It's been a ton of information, but I hope that it has been useful and helpful. I will officially welcome everyone to day 4, the final day of the 2024 Within Health Summit. Again, my name is Jamie Singletary, and I am the Director of Clinical Brand Development for Within Health. And it is my pleasure to welcome you today to our final day. Today, we will be hearing from my colleague and friend, Michelle Worley, and she will be talking with executive members from ANAD. Before we get into the conversation, I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions regarding your CE certificates, I will put my contact information in the chat and you can contact me. If you have any technical issues, I will also provide the CE Go contact information in the chat as well. Please remember that you will get your certificate at the conclusion of the summit today, and that will encounter all of the hours that you have earned over the past 4 days. So without further ado, I will now turn it over to my colleague and friend, Michelle Worley.
Thank you, my dear. And thank you, Jason and Jennifer, for being here. I appreciate you all so much. I am so excited that this is the last day of the Within Health Summit, and we are the first session to go. We are kicking off this Friday. And I just love that you guys are here to do it with me. So thank you again for being here. So, yeah, let's chat about ANAD. I'm going to just introduce ANAD, and then I'd like to say a little bit about the two of you. So, ANAD is a free resource and inclusive community of peer support volunteers who understand firsthand the ups and downs of the recovery journey because they too have lived experience of an eating disorder. With a helpline, weekly support groups, peer mentorship program, treatment directory, and much more, ANAD seeks to provide comfort, support, hope to anybody struggling with an eating disorder, disordered eating, and body image issues. I know that Within Health has done a lot of collaboration with ANAD, and again, I can't thank you enough. So, Jason Wood is here with us, Director of Community Engagement. Jason Wood turned his battle with orthorexia into a mission to break the stigma around men's mental health by publishing his memoir, Starving for Survival. He is proud to serve on the board of Running in Silence, Michigan Eating Disorder Alliance, and Soul Pause Recovery Project. Jason is also the director of community engagement at ANAD and facilitates the organization's New Men's Peer Support Group. Through speaking engagements, his writing, and his work, Jason strives to start an important conversation that encourages everyone, especially to men, to speak up, share their stories, and get the help they deserve. Jennifer Carroll, Program Director. Jen graduated from Columbia University School of Social Work with her master's in social work and has worked in the eating disorder field for nearly a decade. Jen has managed helplines, run prevention programming for kids, high schoolers, and college students, and created professional development curriculum and training. Jen is passionate about justice work, mental health awareness, and community building.
Right.
So, yeah, let's get into it. So, I would love to chat about ANAD and specifically the beginning. So, where did it start and how did that mission start and how has that mission evolved over time?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Jamie and Michelle. It is great to be here today, and I can't think of a better way to kick off our Friday, right? This is pretty awesome. So, a fun fact about Anit is that we were actually founded back in 1976. So, we've been around quite a while, and we started in the basement of a woman's house, and eventually grew to the organization that we are today. Vivian Meehan, who is our founder, her daughter was diagnosed with an eating disorder, and she needed resources. She needed that support, and there was none of it out there. So she started it herself. And what started as a group in her basement, and the helpline being her home phone line number, turned into the organization that we are today, where we've got virtual support groups that meet every week, and now we're changing lives across the country every single day with our network of peer support volunteers. So what started as just a very small support group has really grown into a community of hope and healing for a lot of people out there.
It's amazing. How many groups do you all have?
Yeah, so I think Jen can correct me. I think we're up to like 19 now, right? We just added a
Yeah.
new one yesterday.
Yep, we added a new one yesterday. So we're at, I count 18, but it could be 19, Jason.
Can you give us like maybe just a couple names of those support groups? Get an idea
Yeah.
of what people can look into?
Yeah. So we have a pretty robust schedule. We have general groups as well as identity-based groups. And our general groups meet every day, as Jason was saying. As our identity-based groups, we have our men and eating disorder support group. We just added chronic illness and long-term disability to the schedule. We have our BED group. We have our teen and young adults group. So we have a ton of support groups and even more than what I've mentioned, and we're able to implement those because of our volunteers.
Amazing. How many volunteers do you all have, and are they across the country?
Yeah, they are. Jen, do you have a rough number of how many volunteers we have right now?
We have about 200 volunteers, and they are all across the country, all across the US as a virtual organization.
Amazing.
One of
Yeah.
the coolest things about being part of the community is the different experiences and backgrounds and identities that you get to interact with every single day. Like our volunteers, just the diversity among the volunteers, it's incredible. You get to learn so much just about the different experiences with an eating disorder through talking with our volunteer community.
Yeah, and that was going to bring up my next question. I wanted to talk about how you guys can reach marginalized communities, because that is such an issue in this space. So it's so important all the work you do for that.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's been so important to listen. I tell people all the time that I wear a lot of different hats around the organization, but the most important thing that I can do from a community engagement side is to listen to other people and learn about these experiences and backgrounds and identities. And I started a community engagement committee where I've invited about a dozen people of all different backgrounds to just talk to me regularly on we'll get together like once a month, once every couple months, and just have conversations about what topics are of interest right now in the different communities, and what methods we can use to better connect with them. Is social media the way to go? Is direct email the way to go? Are events the way to go? So I'm constantly learning and figuring out what's the best way to connect with these communities. And then on the program side, they do a fantastic job with, I'll let Jen talk a little bit more about it, but like our pop-up support group series, where we provide these support groups in addition to our recurring support groups, we provide these other support groups that are often, again, identity-based or specifically maybe targeted towards some of those marginalized communities.
We care a lot about listening to our volunteers and honoring their experience because there is such a range of experiences within the eating disorder community. And we want our volunteers to feel empowered to lead from their place of recovery. And so that's how this support group we were just talking about got added to the schedule, is we had some people come and say, we really think that this should be a pop-up group and we want to lead it. And then another person joined and another person joined, and now we're going to be able to add it to our regular schedule. And so that feels really good. We know that that's how we're reaching people and giving them hope for their own recovery.
That's amazing. Yeah. Um, and to go into, we mentioned stigma before, and I think that's something that we all deal with, especially in this community. How does ANAD address stigma and the surrounding of eating disorders and your outreach in those like support efforts?
Yeah, yeah. So that was one of the things when I was first diagnosed with my eating disorder back in 2020. I was mad. I was mad that the stigma and the stereotypes had kept me from getting help for so long. So it's been like a personal mission for me that I try to now get out through all of our communications here at ANID. I think one of the biggest ways that we can combat stigma is through storytelling. And one of the things we try to do a lot here at ANID is highlight our volunteers and give them the spaces to share their stories, or we engage with other individuals who have recovered or are recovering from eating disorders and let them share their stories. Because I find that that's a really good way to maybe knock down some of that stigma and get around it. And it's so important that we do it because mental health in and of itself has that stigma around it. But then it's almost like there's another layer when it comes to eating disorders. There's a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes around eating disorders that contribute to that stigma. So for us, it's so important to break down both of those stigmas in order for people to seek the help and the resources that they need.
Yeah, I think it was last year, Jason, you were on our men's panel for
Hmm.
the Within Health Summit. And it was, I believe, you and our co-founder, Abalash, and William Hornby. And it was such a powerful segment and just so powerful and relatable to some of the people, male identifying, going through what you all have went through. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I find just sharing my story and being real, that's how people can relate to it. If you get up there and start using all the big words or maybe that scientific language around mental health and all of that, people tune out. They don't listen. But if you just get authentic and share your story, it's a great way to break through that stigma.
Yeah, and those of us that have had lived experience, it's a very lonely area to be in when you're struggling with your eating disorder. So I think and within health, having all the support groups, it's so powerful to have that relational factor while you're going through treatment in your treatment journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So thank you. So I also wanted to talk about how ANAD stay informed about emerging trends in advocacy and mental health awareness.
Yeah, so again, it's that listening. It goes all back to listening. I spend a lot of time having those conversations with the community engagement committee members. We have an amazing board and advisory board as well with professionals all around the industry from more the dietetics and nutrition side to therapists and psychiatrists. And it's just, that's one of the ways that we can always stay on top of things. But again, it's utilizing the different resources that we have available to us, getting feedback from our volunteers, getting feedback from the support group attendees, looking and seeing what people are talking about on social media. I think a lot of organizations often just use social media as a one-way street of communication to get their message across. But here at ANID, we really try to see what other people are talking about and engage in those conversations. And that can kind of help us keep on top of current trends or conversations that maybe aren't being had that need to get started.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And very important topic for you guys is funding. So with the funding, how do you all secure funding and what resources are the most important to expand your outreach and improve your services to get to all these people that need your help?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit, so we rely heavily on donations and sponsorships to really help grow our programs and provide everything for free. That's one of the coolest things about ANIT is that all of our programs are free. They cost nothing, and we want to keep it that way. We want to make sure that it's accessible to anybody in need. But in order to do that, we have to ask for donations and we have to fundraise and find these funds that are out there. And it's not always easy. It's hard sometimes to do the fundraising part of the job and to ask for help, but it's a vital part of the role because it's so important when we see these groups growing and expanding, and that need is just growing and expanding. We see it on the helpline, we see it in the support groups. So we have to be able to match that need. And to do it, we've got to ask for funds. And we'll do a lot of different events with, people can make donations during that event. We've got the Helpline Heroes monthly donation, which for $8 a month, that helps us answer a helpline call and provide a treatment referral to somebody in need. So something just as small as $8 a month can really have a big impact for us. I know Jen can probably talk a little bit more about some of the program's needs, but there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that maybe people don't know about, the technology and the volunteer training and all of those different resources. They definitely require the funds in order to be run.
Yeah, when we think about stigma and when we think about how we try to combat it on the program side of things, it's through our training, and that's how we keep our volunteers up to date in listening and being, connected via social media, as Jason said. But we also want to reinforce it with the actual technology and the training and the resources. And in order to respond to that, we do need the software. We need, the funding to make that happen. But it does make a big difference on our side. And it's important that we keep the programming free. We hear from so many people who come through our doors, oh, if I had only known about this when I was going through my own recovery. And that makes such an impact when you need that community, which is a huge part of recovery. So we want to keep our programming accessible. And we know that at the end of the day, in order to do that, we need the funds and the donations.
What would be the easiest way? Could you walk me through? Oh, Jason, your dog just popped up and I love it. It's so cute.
He's making a guest appearance.
He's like, I have something to say about funding. Please donate.
I trained him to do this.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Can you talk about the website and what would be the easiest way? Is there a certain area that you can navigate people to make those donations?
Yeah, so we've got our donation form on the website, and I feel like any page you go to on the website, there will be a button that says donate, and folks can go right there to our donation form. You can sign up for a one-time donation, those recurring donations that I was talking about. And another big thing is events. If you register for an ANID event, there's often links on those registration pages to make an additional donation. So there are several ways that people can go about donating. It's also really cool because we've teamed up with Double the Donation, and they will automatically search and see if your employer will double any donation or matches. And they make it really easy then. They'll give you the form that you need to fill out, give that to your employer, and then you maximize your impact. You double that impact. So we try to make giving as easy as possible.
Yeah, that's incredible. I didn't know about the double. I
Yeah.
love that. Was that your idea? It might have been.
Yep. I'll take credit for that one.
Yeah, I love it. And then speaking on events, can you talk about some of the events?
Ooh, I'm super excited. We've got a really cool event coming up next week. I can't believe it's already here, but on October 20th, we're doing a National Candlelight Vigil. And ANID has done local vigils before, but this will be the first time we're going national with it. So for anybody that's listening in the Chicago area, we're hosting the event at the UIC campus, University of Illinois, Chicago, but we're also streaming it live online. So people can join us from anywhere. And we've invited several amazing guest speakers to come and share some of their experiences. And we want this event to be both an opportunity to remember those that we've lost to an eating disorder, but also to recognize and to celebrate those people that are in recovery or who have recovered, and all of those people that have been there to support those individuals along the way. Eating disorder recovery is hard. It is tough and challenging, and we feel like these vigils give us that opportunity to really celebrate and to recognize those individuals, and hopefully in the process light the way for others to heal. So you can learn more on the ANID website at anid.org/vigil. But I hope everybody can make it to that event because it's really going to be a cool hour from 4 to 5 p.m. Central Time on the 20th. I'm looking forward to it. In addition to that, we've constantly got other activities going on. I just off the top of my head, I know later on this month, we're having a book club conversation with one of our ANID volunteers who actually wrote a book about her experience and her daughter's experience with an eating disorder. So we'll sit down and have that conversation with her. Again, that's streaming live online, so people can join us from anywhere. And looking ahead at the rest of the year, we've got several more virtual events dedicated to raising awareness and having conversations. And pretty much at the end of the day, getting that lived experience out there. A lot of our events are rooted in that lived experience and hearing from the individuals who, much like our peer volunteers, those people that have been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's all those events on the website?
Yep. Everything is on the website. I try to keep it as up to date as possible. You can also on the website subscribe for our newsletter, and I'm constantly adding any events that are coming up to our newsletter, so you can get the email notification right there in your inbox.
Yeah, great. And I do have to say for anybody listening, conferences that you go to, a lot of times you might see people from ANAD there. So stop by their booth, say hi. It's a great way to really talk to them and find out what they do. You can sign up for their email list and everything like that. So you guys are everywhere, and I love it. And I also want to go back to you two and just let me know individually, like how you got into this space and your biggest passion about being where you are now.
Yeah, I've been in the field, as you had mentioned earlier, for about 10 years, and I have lived experience of an eating disorder and of recovery from an eating disorder, obviously. And when I was younger, I was really passionate about peer support. This was like a separate hobby of mine and what got me into social work to start with. So when I found ANED, it was perfect. It was both of my passions and worlds colliding, and I care a lot about the mission. And I'm sure Jason will be able to back me up in saying that all of our volunteers, the staff, like everyone we talk to within our community is so passionate because we're all here from a place of love, from a place of wanting to help other people, wanting to build community and connect.
Yeah, totally. I will echo that. The amount of passion within this organization is incredible. Like you feel it every single day through emails, through phone calls, through video messages. Like it's just the passion is so inspiring for me every single day. And for me, it was one of those situations where, like I said, I was diagnosed with the eating disorder back in 2020, and I wanted to get out there and share my message, and I didn't know exactly how I would do that or how if anybody would even want to listen to me. So I started a blog and an Instagram account, and one thing led to another, and I found myself making a career change and working here at ANID. And when I first applied to ANID, I really didn't even know much about the organization, and I thought, oh, with a name like that, they must only treat anorexia nervosa. And then I realized that no, it's all eating disorders. Like we're all encompassing. But I kind of use that every single day now when I go about the community engagement parts of my job is I try to remember being that person who could have really utilized this community, but didn't know about the community. So now I'm like on a mission to make sure everybody knows who Anit is, just because it's such an incredible resource.
Yeah. I'm curious, where can we find your memoir, Jason?
Yeah. So my book is available. There's actually a link in the Anid Book Corner. So if you go to the Anid website, it's there. But it's also available on like Amazon and Bookshop and pretty much anywhere where you can purchase a book. And the name of it is Starving for Survival. So it was just about my entire experience from the time that the seeds were planted in childhood to when the eating disorder really engulfed my entire life. And then in the recovery journey, some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. It was a really cool experience to be able to write that book and to get it out there, especially for other guys, kind of going back to what we said at the very beginning, especially to get that male perspective shared and out there in the community.
Yeah. I love that you said the seeds of your childhood because,
Mhm.
looking back, having lived experience myself, there are those seeds that you recognize as adult. You're like, oh wow. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, now you see it.
all makes sense now.
Yeah, yeah, amazing, incredible. Um, and so also with Aned, I know you mentioned volunteers. Is there anything else that people can do? Because the volunteers, can they volunteer for like one event to help, or is it like you sign up and like you just do every event?
Mhm. Yeah, so I'll let Jen talk about kind of the peer support volunteers because we've got that coming up here in November where we'll be
We
recruiting
sure
again.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are currently supporting our current cohort, and applications are going to open November 1st for our spring 2025 cohort for all of our programs. So we will be recruiting helpline volunteers, support group leaders, and mentors into our organization and hoping to welcome some new faces. And when we were talking earlier about donations and about, monetary support, there's also the ability to just spread the word, to share our application, to apply if you have lived experience of recovery and want to get involved, because we are volunteer led and we really can only support as many people as we have volunteers to support, and to show up and share their journey. And so November 1st, check out our website and, and look for those application links because we would love to have you.
Yes, and as long as you post them on social media too, like we can also, friends of y'all like support and repost those for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. I just want to end with another thank you. Jennifer and Jason, I truly, on behalf of Within Health and myself, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for all those people that you reach out to that don't have the resources for help, that know that there's hope with you all. So thank you so much.
Thank
Well, thank
you.
you. Thank you for having us today and letting us be a part of the summit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, and what an amazing kickoff to this beautiful Friday and the final day of our summit. Thank you all so much for sharing your stories, sharing your time, sharing your gifts. Also, to our attendees that were watching and listening today, we thank you. And one more time, can you share your website and how people can contact you all?
Yeah, so we are anad.org, ANAD.org. And that's the best place to get in touch with us. I think both mine and Jen's email is on the website, so you can get in touch with us through there too. And we're always up to hear from anybody.
Thank you. And for the rest of the attendees, I hope that you will stay tuned. We will take a break here. In our next session, we'll be with the wonderful Alicia, who will be talking about ARFID, a very important topic and component of the eating disorder that we do not only here at Within, but that we're also seeing in the community. So stay tuned, and we will see you all back at 11 o'clock. Have a wonderful day.
Hi.
Thank you.